The White House is rushing to catch up with the controversy over classified documents toward a Republican attempt to identify President Joe Biden and free former President Donald Trump from responsibility for his own secret records drama. The weekend was spent by Biden's aides trying to control a chaotic communications strategy that made the impact of the discovery of vice presidential documents in his former office and home in Delaware worse. However, as a result of the special counsel's investigation, they face the prospect of conducting additional searches, which could result in the politically divisive discovery of additional documents as the ferocious new Republican House majority stirs the pot. In the meantime, new reports from CNN indicate that Biden is becoming increasingly enraged by his predicament. As he struggles to control the situation, the stakes for the president could not be higher. A series of favorable events, including a moderate cooling of inflation that he hoped to use as a launchpad for a re-election campaign that he is anticipated to announce soon, have been drowned out in the short term by the documents scandal. Any attempt to distinguish between Biden's cooperation with the authorities and Trump's months-long resistance and obfuscation regarding his haul of hundreds of pages of classified material was squandered by the clumsy White House public relations strategy involving approximately 20 documents. The White House is under a lot of pressure now that Biden, like Trump, is the subject of a special counsel investigation to prevent the dreaded scenario of a single minor scandal launching a slew of related investigations that could consume Biden's presidency. The president's hopes that this will only be a brief blip in early 2023 are contingent on several crucial questions that the outnumbered White House is currently facing and to which it has been difficult to provide definitive answers. Are additional documents awaiting discovery that could increase the controversy's political impact? Following the discovery of a number of documents in Biden's home and former office, will additional searches be conducted? Who would carry out such a search? Biden's legal team? Or, given that Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed a special counsel last week to avoid the appearance of political interference, will the FBI also be involved? Why has it taken so long to search other potential locations where vice presidential records, including potentially classified files, could be found, given that the first set of documents was discovered in November? According to CNN's Evan Perez, a source close to the investigation, the pace of searches by Biden's team concerned the U.S. Attorney's Office in Chicago that initially investigated the matter. How quickly and efficiently can House Republicans use this drama to bolster one of their top priorities, which is to create a narrative of dishonesty and corruption surrounding Biden's family and the business interests of his son Hunter? Will the GOP's obvious hypocrisy, which didn't care about Trump's larger documents haul, be transformed into a broader political message that can portray the House majority as extreme in advance of the 2024 election? These inquiries may assist in determining whether this is yet another scandal in Washington that does not necessarily correspond with voters' top priorities, or whether the response creates a broader impression of incompetence and chaos that could cause damage in the long run. Biden has lamented how the documents story has dampened a political jolt he received after staving off a disastrous red Republican wave in the midterm elections in November, making him frustrated at the turn in his fortunes inside a White House that is becoming increasingly under siege. As aides wait to see if additional classified documents from Biden's time as vice president in the Obama administration will surface, CNN's White House team reported a quiet resignation in the West Wing. There is a clear tension between the strategies that the president's lawyers may advocate, who are required to steer him clear of criminal liability, and the requirements of a public relations strategy designed to mitigate the political damage, as is typically the case in situations like these. Even though it might have made legal sense to not mention the initial discovery of documents in the vice presidential office in November until the story came out earlier this month, this was an unsustainable political strategy. Then, when Biden spoke about the situation last week, he did not disclose that additional documents had been discovered. This only made the situation worse because it gave the impression that he had something to hide. The mess would get worse if more discoveries were made. David Axelrod, a CNN political analyst and former senior advisor to President Barack Obama, stated, "They just don't look good on this particular